Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Nick.
And welcome to episode 4 of
Too Fat DJs.
So hello everyone, and like I said, welcome to episode 4 of Too Fat DJs. And you guys have no idea just how many rehearsals we had to do to get that first bit right, and even then we couldn't get it right. So we just rolled with the one that we were kind of the most happy with.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen again.
If only you knew what we were doing off camera, you'd be amazed.
No, they don't want to know about that. They really don't want to know about that. Welcome to episode 4. Hello to everyone who's watching us on YouTube and listening to us via any of our connected super duper platforms. And we're on so many now.
Global.
We are literally global. We're on Anchor, Google Playlists.
Hang on, say that. We're on what?
Anchor.
Sorry. Yep.
Google Podcasts. Although I still have to work out how that works because I've got no idea. We're on Spotify. And we are on Apple Music and Amazon Music as well. So we're literally coming in your ears from all sorts of different angles.
Worldwide. Wide being the appropriate word.
Or maybe not so wide.
We're Too Fat DJs. It had to be wide.
If you do want to check us out, then go to our website, which is toofatdjs.co.uk. And also, I had someone message me saying, I tried to find your website, can't find it. It's because they were spelling two with TWO. So what I did, I registered Too Fat DJs with the number 2 as well. So
good work. I've had the same when someone said, I can't find your podcast anywhere. I've typed it in. Too Fat DJs. No. It's Too Fat, as in we are too fat. Oh, I get it. Yeah. So, So remember, everyone, it's TOO. But mind you, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know because you're listening. So
that's right. And when we can afford it, we'll buy Too Fat DJs, the number 2.
Yeah, soon the world will be ours.
And we'll try and think of every other spelling, sort of like, the way people spell things.
Our mission is to rid the world of fat people.
I won't go that far.
Well, no, all right then. Right, okay. So I think we need some updates.
We do need an update, and we're going to start with you this week because we started with me last week. Now, before we started doing this, this particular episode, Nick went to weigh in this morning because he weighs in on Wednesdays, and we record this on Wednesdays, and he's not told me. So I'm all ears. Give it to me.
Right. Okay. So I've had a busy few days. It started off on Saturday, then went through to Sunday and Monday. I've been extremely busy. Lots of things to do, lots of things to sort out. So as I normally say every week, I was a bit wary about going to group this morning, and because I knew I'd been okay, but I just wasn't 100% sure. Anyway, cut a long story short, I went this morning, stood on the scales, didn't look down, wanted a nice surprise, and I lost 2.5 pounds. So I was really, really pleased. I was pleased because I have resisted an awful lot of temptation over the last few days. And I don't mind admitting it's been difficult. It's been a challenge. But when you actually come out of the other side of that and you realize that you have resisted it and you haven't given in, and it would have been so easy because no one would necessarily have known, then you realize what an achievement that is. And again, some people will get that and some people won't, but I can assure you that is a hell of an achievement. I always remember my mum saying to me, and she said it this morning, actually, she said, it was the same at Christmas. She said, my mum's always on diets. There's nothing of her. There honestly is nothing of my mum, but she's always on diets. And she always, I remember at Christmas when she hardly ate anything, but after Christmas, she said, yeah, and I was so pleased. I didn't give in. And I still lost weight when I went to group in the first week of January. And I thought, yeah, fair play. And I totally get that now. And so I was really, really pleased. And everything's really good. I mean, I'm well into the 22 stones now. So that's good. Feel great, really do. You get compliments from people that notice, which I mean, that's the biggest thing. When people notice it, you know, it's all right. Your partners see you every day and they probably don't see it, you know, so much. But when you see people, you know, and then they say, "Oh, you can half notice a difference." Cool.
Well, I've got to say, you do look different. I was looking at some old pictures of myself, and you just happened to be in a few of them from over the years. And the ones I was looking at the most were at the Pro Mobile Conference 2019, when we did our Too Much Sugar Hill Gang.
Do you want to just quickly explain what that performance was all about for those? Because there'll be people listening that won't have any idea whatsoever what you're talking about.
Okay, so basically we had this idea about doing a performance in front of a load of DJs at a DJ conference, and there was myself, there was you, and another chap called Ewan Bass. We got dressed up to try and look like rap stars, and that's rap, although we were probably crap as well. And we had these T-shirts on because we were doing the Sugar Hill Gang's very famous song, Rapper's Delight. And I had this, we had the Sugar Hill Gang logo on our T-shirts. But the funny thing, and it may be not so funny in retrospect, it said Too Much Sugar Hill Gang. So probably something to do with diabetes or something, but it wasn't. It's because we were big fat DJs. And looking back at those videos now, the performance was crap, but
it raised a lot of laughs.
It raised a lot of things. But no money though. We didn't raise any money. But looking back at the pictures, certainly with you, I think you were at your biggest then. And if we manage to be able to put pictures side by side, and we'll do this in our Facebook group, people will see a massive difference without a doubt. So yeah, you're looking a lot thinner in the face, and I'm sure the little Nick is getting longer as well.
I personally don't think the little wiener Nick. I don't think even losing 7 stone is going to make a difference. I think I've just got to accept going to have a little wiener
forever.
The one thing I could always say was that it might be small, but I've got 20 odd stone to push it in. But let's not go down that route.
This is turning into an 18 plus podcast now.
Plus my mum's probably listening.
Well, she'll know all about little Nick.
She will indeed. Yeah, let's not.
£2.5. Well done, mate. That's really good.
Really, really pleased with that. And as like I say, I think more so the sort of the hurdle of resisting temptation, and you know that I think we can use a lot of excuses in our heads to make us eat stuff we don't necessarily want to eat. And I think, again, I know we keep going on about it, but once you're in the right head, you know, the mindset, the headspace, and your thoughts are right and what you want to achieve are right, then I think that overcomes everything, and the temptation and so yeah. So I was more pleased the mental side of it this week than absolutely anything else, you know. So yeah, so good. Anyway.
So how much have you lost in total?
So I've now lost 3 stone 5 pound exactly.
That's brilliant.
That's in 11 weeks. So yeah, really, really chuffed.
You should be.
In terms of, I don't know if we're going to do joint hour, you know, are we going to collectively say what we want to do next week, or do you want me to give you an idea now what I want to do?
No, what like our goals?
Yeah.
No, we'll do goals at the end.
All right then. But yeah, I mean, yeah, really pleased. Stepped up exercise as well, which I think we'll talk about later on. But yeah, now I was pleased with £2.5. But for those of you that listened to episode 3, you will know that Ian was a little bit pissed off that when he jumped on the scales, he put on £1. And if you remember, we said, hey, your bodies are so complex, and you know what will happen next week. Something else might happen. And so don't worry about it. Just brush it off and move on. So, Ian, would you like to now share what happened to you this week?
Well, obviously, as Nick said, I had a really rough week at weigh-in the week before. I put on a pound. I was really despondent, really down with that. I also knew that Mother's Day was coming, and I'd already had something planned. We were going out for dinner. I went to a steakhouse where everything is literally smothered in butter and a bit more butter. And I had 3 gigs that weekend as well. It turned out to be 4 gigs in the end. I did 2 on the Saturday. And I just knew that the food was going to be, it was all about preparation. It was all about the preparation last week. On the Sunday, I was at my gig, and it wasn't a particularly busy gig. And I was really self-conscious about how I felt at the gig. I felt really fat. I mean, I look really fat, but I felt it. So knowing that weighing.
Sorry to just interrupt. When you say you felt really fat at your gig, was there something that led you to think that, or was that just in your sort of your head?
No, it was just inside. I just felt fat.
Okay.
Right. So when my other half says, "Oh, I'm having a fat day," I know exactly what she means. Yeah. I felt really fat. So I wasn't looking forward to weighing the next day. I'd been good all week with the food. We were still on HelloFresh, but we'd had a few extra meals in there that we'd kind of made ourselves. But I was there on the Sunday night, and I was thought, oh, I'm not going to eat anything or drink anything now, because I was worried about water retention, and I thought, well, if I eat that low fat, like, go ahead bar, that's gonna make me put on a few pounds in the morning. And then I got up the next day, and I just thought, well, it is what it is. I woke up at 9:10. Weigh-in was at 9:30. So I thought, well, it was raining. I thought, here we go. So I was about to drive down, but then I thought, no, I'm going to walk down, because it is literally 200 meters from my house.
Yeah.
So put me Skechers on, and off I went. Stood on the scales, and I was a bit amazed to have lost 9.5 pounds.
Unbelievable.
9.5 pounds, which I was completely gobsmacked with, to be honest. Because
just to put that in context, everyone, I know we've probably got a lot of younger people that, still deal in pounds and pence and, kilograms and kilos. To put that in context, 9.5 pound is not far off of losing a stone in a week. A stone. Now you're talking, what are we? We're talking seven bags of sugar.
Yeah, look, she's trying to hide in the back there.
Yeah. She got all excited when I said 7 bags of sugar.
Yeah.
7 bags of sugar.
I know.
That you've taken off of your body
in 1 week.
In a week.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. But what was amazing, I mean, in our group, we've got quite a few decent, I don't want to say we've got a few decent losers. That sounds terrible, but yeah. We've got a few people in there who are really smashing it at the minute. Yeah. And I didn't get Slimmer of the Week. Which was, I mean, there was another guy who was into his second week. He did 9 pounds, but there was a lady there who, I think she did 10 pounds, which is incredible. So between 3 people, we lost over half the total weight loss for that group in a week. So I mean, I was gobsmacked with 9.5 pounds. I was knocked out. So that brings my total loss now to 1 stone 12.5 pounds. So I'm 1.5 pounds away from my 2 stone award, and 4.5 pounds away from getting into my next stone number. So I'm getting closer to my first target, which is 10%, and then I'll reset then and then do another 10%.
But I bet you go into this week now, and I bet you're like mega confident that you'll
absolutely. Yeah. So I've got some certificates now. So there's my half stone one.
Good stuff.
And I've got my 1 stone.
Brilliant.
Slimmer of the Week, which I got beginning of this month. Then I got my 1.5 stone award, and also Slimmer of the Month.
Get that. Yeah.
1 stone 7 in total in a month, which is
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm well pleased with that. So onwards and downwards, as they say.
Onwards and downwards, yeah, too right. So, what are you going to do this week then? And no, let's firstly, was there anything, although you've lost 9.5 pounds this week, was there anything you struggled with this week, would you say? Psychologically or actually, food?
Not really, no. When I was in the group, Aaron, who's my consultant, said, is there anything that you've changed? And I said no, because I was kind of put on the spot. I didn't think I had. When I kind of got home, I sat down and thought about it, and I thought, actually, yeah, I have done quite a few changes this week. So I took sugar out of my tea.
Yeah.
I can't quite bring myself to do sugar out of coffee yet.
Yeah. How many sugars did you used to have in tea?
Slightly more than level teaspoon.
Okay, so it wasn't the end of the world.
It wasn't a lot. Yeah. No. So I've moved on to sweetener, which I can't stand, to be honest. But what I do is I swirl my tea around, and then I dip the spoon in the sweetener. I don't even pull out like a heaped teaspoon or a flat teaspoon. I just like dip it in the sweetener, and then, because I don't like what it does to my tea, it turns it frothy. It's ridiculous. So I stopped having sugar in my tea. Yeah. Also, because of the amount of driving that I do, I was taking loads of snacks out with me. Now, when I say snacks, I don't mean sort of like chocolate bars and all this. Yeah. I'd be taking out apples and bananas and satsumas, and I'd have a bag of 100-calorie crisps and this and that and whatever. So I stopped taking those out. I stopped having crisps completely. Because although they were 100-calorie, don't be fooled by that, because they have the same amount of fat in as a 150-calorie bag of crisps. So they're still around about 5 grams of fat. So I stopped having crisps, but I also stopped taking all the fruit out. So I only really, sometimes I'll take an apple out or maybe a banana or whatever. But one thing I did find is my favorite apples are the pink ladies. Yeah. So what I do is when I go to Tesco's, I buy a couple of packets and I just leave them in the car, because they're just good to reach for when you're driving about. Yeah. Struggling wise, just thought of something actually. I was in Essex on Friday night, and the venue I was at was literally right next to a McDonald's. So I got the stench of the McDonald's as I was loading in, and it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal, especially now as they've reissued my favorite burger, the Big Tasty. Yeah, that was quite difficult. When I mean, they do pineapple sticks in there, which are actually quite nice. Yeah. And when I came out, I thought, I'll go to McDonald's, I'll get a pineapple stick and a Diet Coke or something for the journey home. But when I came out, they were closed. They're not a 24-hour one. So
good.
So I was well pleased with that.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else saw, I put a recipe up for some homemade Scotch eggs, which are great for a snack because they're quite big. So you can cut them into 4s. So if you want to just put them on the side of your seat and you just want to nibble at those, they're great. I mean, they're just literally eggs, turkey mince, which is well seasoned, wrap them, wholemeal breadcrumbs, put them in an air fryer or in the oven if you haven't got an air fryer, spray light, virtually no calories to them, good for you, great snack, tasty, easy.
They look quite nice, although I've got to say I'm not a big fan of boiled eggs. So can I put a cream egg in the middle?
Yeah, cream egg, Cadbury's cream eggs you can put in, and they'll taste probably better, to be honest with you. Probably better. So
there's nothing that you can actually put in the middle to make it. I mean, what about scrambled egg? Could you?
Yeah, well, they do. You can buy Scotch eggs that have got like a scrambled egg inside, can't you?
Yeah, I might do that because I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of boiled eggs because they've got that eggy kind of smell and taste to them, and it just makes me feel sick.
I think the way to do it, we sound like a cookery program now. The way you could do it is you could make up some sort of egg mixture, like an egg mayonnaise type mixture. Press it hard into an egg-shaped ball and put it in the fridge so that it hardens up. and then wrap your meat around it and then cook it. No, you could. Yeah, I know you're laughing. Don't laugh at me, man.
It's just the way you said wrap your meat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean it.
Oh, this is turning into a proper innuendo show.
Last
isn't it?
week we were talking about dancing in your pants down the freezer aisle.
Listen, that's the title of this episode. Wrap your meat around it. I'm going to write that down. Right, wrap your meat around it.
Wrap your meat around it. Yeah. Let's just stick it in the oven. Right. Oh, okay. So I'm totally off track now.
Shall we move on?
They were the things that you were saying you were struggling with, like the McDonald's.
Yeah, so the McDonald's, and of course KFC have just brought out the Daredevil bites, which are my favorite. As I love the Daredevil bites, and apparently they're really hot. I was watching a review of them the other day on TikTok, and it was just like, I was like dribbling. But I'm not having it. I've not had a KFC or a McDonald's since the 28th of Feb, and I'm certainly not going to go and do it right now. So.
Moving on now, we're going to talk about the temptation of the dreaded takeaway late at night. You know the scene, you're sitting there in the lounge or you've been working all night and all of a sudden one of your mates says, God, I fancy a kebab, or fancy fish and chips tonight, or God, I could murder a Chinese. Well, we're not saying you can't, and we're not saying you shouldn't, but what we are saying is if you are going to do it, you need to be careful. If you want to maintain a weight loss, you want to be good, you want to be healthy, you need to really think about takeaways. Like I say, the temptation is that, no one will ever know. It doesn't matter. I'll just go and have one. But there are ways that you can still enjoy that sort of food, but you just need to use your head a little bit more. So, I would suggest that the most common takeaway late at night for most people, if they've had a drink or they've been working and they're on that journey home, is probably one of two things. I would say the doner kebab or the chicken kebab has got to be top of the list. And then I would say for a lot of mobile DJs, club DJs, party DJs, when you finish late, it could be 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and you stop to get your petrol or your diesel if you can afford it. Then it'll be the Cornish pasty in the cold freezer fridge. And
there is one more.
Yeah, go on.
The 24-hour McDonald's.
Yeah, you see, I as you know, my thought, I hate McDonald's. So
yeah, you're
mentioning it, but
you're not a big fan of McDonald's. But when you're driving down the A10 or whatever road you happen to be on, and you see the golden arches in the distance, you just think, I could just have a Big Mac meal. No one would ever know. Yeah, but the thing is also, I've noticed if you use some sat navs, they actually got the McDonald's logo on them now as well. Yeah. So you can see it before you even see it. Yeah. And that's now one thing I've discovered when I moved down south in 2001, 2, something like that. I discovered that a lot of the late night takeaways, the kebab shops, they were closed usually beyond 1 o'clock in the morning. Right, it was very rare that you would find one open, and the number of times I've been to one to discover that the door's locked and they're cleaning up, and that is a complete downer. You get there and you've psyched yourself up for this beautiful sort of like slab of fat dripping homicide, like champion between
and it
inside
congeals inside your fingers, the fat there as you're eating the I know,
and then you get there and then the door's shut and they're cleaning up and you just think,
no, I'll tell you what's even worse, shall I? Is when you look down the street and you see that the light in the kebab house is still on.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And the door's open.
Yeah.
And then you slowly walk up because you don't need to rush. They're open. It's all right. It's fine. They're going to be open until 6 in the morning, as far as you know. You walk up, you take one step in the door, and he says, "Sorry, sir, we close." What? We close, sir. We close at 2. Oh, you're joking. Can you just knock me up a quick kebab? No. The elephant's leg is off the spit roast now, mate.
The elephant's leg.
Elephant leg.
It's true though, and this is all because you psych yourself up for having this food,
Yeah.
and then when you get there and it's shut and it is a downer. Well, the good news is that you can go to a kebab shop and still eat healthily, and the way you do that is you go for the lamb or the chicken sheesh, and those are the ones on the stick. Don't be fooled by the kofta kebab, because that is processed and it will probably contain high fat beef mince or high fat lamb mince, and maybe some breadcrumbs as well, just to kind of bind it all together. So the best one to go for is the chicken or lamb sheesh. And even still, you do take a risk with that, because usually they're marinated in some kind of something or other. But
yogurt or something.
But it's probably the best option that you're going to have with a mountain of salad. The other thing you've got to be wary of is the sauce that you put on top. So if you're the garlic mayo kind of guy, then literally garlic mayo equals weight addition, right? Yeah. It is if you smother it in that kind of stuff, or like a mint yogurt or anything like that, burger sauce I've seen, all sorts of stuff, then you're really gonna risk it. The best ones to go for, if they have it, is a tomato based sauce. Some kebab shops do like a fresh kind of homemade chili sauce. Even again, sometimes they contain oil and sugars and salts and all sorts of different things, but the tomato ones are probably the best ones to go for. If I had a choice, I'd save it till I get home, and I'd just put a bit of sriracha on top, because I know how to put a value on sriracha sauce and how much of it I'm going to use. If you get to the kebab shop and the guy says salad sauce, and you go, all the salad and chili sauce, you just know he's going to bring out a great big ladle of chili sauce and just pour it all over the meat.
Yeah.
But stay away from the lamb doner. It's bad.
Oh, the lamb doners are, that's a killer. Oh, that's probably taking it too far, but that's not good. But I think the other thing with a chicken kebab is, most of the time a chicken kebab is done on a griddle. So it's a like a griddle. So the fat tends to drip away. It's not necessarily sitting there and going to end up in you. You're going to naturally get some natural fats in there anyway. But again, as Ian just said, I think if you're going to do it, that's probably the safest way of doing it. And what I tend to do is, I love red cabbage. I really do. And red cabbage is fine. I just, I try and bulk it up with as much red cabbage and salad as I can, and just and bulk it up like that. And ideally, if they give it to you in a one of these, polythene containers, try and resist having the bread. And again, if you must have the bread, cut the bread in half. Just open it up and just have half of it and throw the other half away. You'll feel so much better after you've eaten it, I can assure you. Because how many times have you eaten something and you've thought to yourself, I didn't enjoy that. Why did I eat that? I could have quite easily have not eaten that. So if you're going to do it, just think about it. It's hard. And I think the other thing is what we spoke about last week, is justification of, you've spent all that money, and if you've got to spend 15 quid on something when actually you can get it for a tenner, and all of that. If you're spending a 8 or 9 quid or whatever a kebab is now, you're going to probably think to yourself, well, I want 8 or 9 quid's worth of kebab. Well, I suppose you could look at it that way, but well, definitely no chips as well. I mean, cut the chips out. But that's what I would do. Fish and chips, we spoke about last time. If you're out, I get that it's not easy all the time, but if you're out and you decide that you want fish and chips, think about alternatives. Think about asking if they can grill the fish for you. Can they grill it? Can they poach it? Because believe it or not, poached and grilled fish will taste just as good, if not better, rather than wrapping it. I know, sitting by the seaside, listening to the seagulls, eating, battered cod and chips is some people's idea of heaven, and including mine at times. But actually, since I've been doing this and I've been eating fish properly, and I've poached it, or I've grilled it, or I've put it in the oven in a parcel, and cooked it that way with some vegetables, the taste is so much better. It really is.
And you do taste more of the fish as well, because some fish and chip shops, the batter that they put on the fish, it can be like several inches thick, and all you're left with just a greasy old mess, and it's just Yeah, it's probably nice. I mean, I've had chips and I've had fish and chips. My mum and dad owned a fish and chip shop once,
Yeah. Well,
and
listen,
yeah, I've had my fill of it.
yeah, and I mean everyone would love fish and chips now and again, you know. So and again, when you go into a petrol station late at night and you see the Ginsters pasty sitting there staring at you, and they're on special offer, they're only £1. Don't
See,
think to yourself, well, they're normally £2. I can get two tonight. That's what I'll do. I'll get
petrol
two.
stations are complete danger zones.
Oh,
They really are. I mean, you can, if you're going there in the middle of the night, as as we do as DJs, we can often be there 2:30 in the morning. That's usually sometimes when they're cooking stuff for the next day. So
yeah,
by that I mean they've got the bread on the go, they may have some croissants on the go,
yeah,
they're doing the donuts, they're getting the pies and the pasties and the sausage rolls already. So usually when you get there, there's still quite a lot of hot food choices available to you, like
yeah,
a wrap or like one of the, like a little burrito, or some do sausage baps, bacon baps, and sometimes even if they don't have a selection that you can choose from that's already hot, you can pick up, like you do in Costa, you can pick up a sandwich, like a toasted sandwich, like a cheese, mushroom, and bacon toasty, and they'll do it there and then, and you're literally just hanging around for 2 or 3 minutes while they cook it. Petrol stations are danger zones, especially the Marks and Spencer Wild Bean Cafe ones,
oh
because
yeah,
you can get cakes and yums, as well as anything. You can get anything in these places, and then of course you get the chocolate bars and the crisps and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. So I always try to. I mean, I do sound really quite self-righteous when I say this now, like an ex-smoker, but I always try to make sure I get to a pay at pump, because
Yeah.
that way I'm not going inside to go and grab some of this stuff, or be tempted by it in some kind of way.
Again, you're not necessarily led by your stomach half the time. You're led by your eyes, aren't you? And when you see that actually they've got these sausage rolls that are 2 hours old but still hot, and they've reduced them by 50%,
Yeah.
you think to yourself, oh shit, I'll have a couple of sausage rolls. They're only 50p each or whatever. God, I'm saving 70p. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
But
Okay.
you're adding 7 inches onto your
That's
waist.
it. Yeah. The other thing, I mean, I've done it, not that long ago, only like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've stopped for fuel on the way back from Essex, and I picked up a little bit of a little packet out the fridge of little chicken bits, and just sort of nibbled them and just have one. And the other trick, I think, is to just try and chew your food a bit more so it lasts longer, so it engages with your brain, so your brain knows that you're eating. Your brain, then you start to feel full up. And if you've got a long journey, if you're on your way home and you've got an hour and a half journey, whatever it may be, think to yourself, if you've got 4 or 5 things to eat, like 4 or 5 bits of chicken, let's say, have one piece every 10 minutes. Don't do the normal thing is, oh, I'm so hungry, I've got to eat it all now. Because by the time you've eaten it, you haven't even registered to your brain that you've been eating. So you're still going to feel hungry anyway. So
It's really quite easy to do. It's all about the preparation. I mean, I've started taking pasta salads
yeah,
and stuff to gigs. And even if you don't eat it at the gig because you think it looks unprofessional, then that's fine. Save it till the end. If you eat at the venue, if you just take 10 minutes out at the venue when your van or your car's loaded or whatever, just sit there, get your pasta pot out, get that wolf down. Even if you get just like a little thermos, do a nice little soup flask.
yeah,
It's about this big. And if
yeah,
you just load it up with like some kind of chicken pasta or fish pasta or anything like that, or even just I don't know, like a big soup, or if you've just made a big vegetable soup at home or whatever, just fill it with that and just take time out, sit there, eat it, because that way, if you do need to go to a petrol station on the way home, then because you're full, it's like going shopping. The best time to go shopping is, well, I've found the best time to go shopping is after you've eaten,
oh
because
yeah,
then you're not tempted by literally everything that they have inside the shop.
100%, 100%. Interesting. You just said that about soup as well. I mean, again, anyone listening, I don't know if anyone makes their own soup, but again, that's one of the things my mum taught me at a very early age, how to make soup. And making soup can be one of the most healthiest nutritional things that you can ever eat or put down your throat. you know, it is super. It's cheap. You can make a big bowl of soup. You can freeze it, stick it in the, just stick it in the freezer in little containers. But what we did when we started this sort of 11 weeks ago, we made a big batch of soup, and we used to have a bowl of freshly homemade vegetable soup before every meal. So the temptation there is that you have that and you're not so hungry as well. So you tend not to eat so much, but you're actually feeding your body with really, really good things. It's super, super easy to make. So if anyone wants the recipe, I'll post it in the.
Did you see what you did there?
I know.
You did another one earlier on. You said, I've forgotten it now.
Scotch eggs.
No. Kebab. Oh, no, battered. Yeah, we were talking about battered fish, and then you said buttered. And I just thought, battered bread, battered. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just going into Nigella mode there. So if anyone would like
No,
to
if you were going into
that,
Nigella mode, it would be pornographic.
Yeah, the focus would be down here, wouldn't it? On my sort of nether regions here.
Yeah.
It would nothing to do with the food. It would just be about Nigella making soup. So if anyone wants the recipe for soup, it's mega easy, really tasty, and really good for you. And it's a great way of suppressing your appetite as well.
Did you post the recipe for the Scotch eggs
in the group? I did. In the Too Fat DJs, TOO, that is.
Yeah. If you want to find us on Facebook, it's Too Fat DJs, TOO.
That was a shameless plug, wasn't it, for the Facebook group?
Absolutely. We'd love to see you in there. We've got quite a few people in there now. I was just having a quick gander through it as you were talking. We've got 162 members.
What?
162 members.
Let's see if we can make it 200 by the end of this week.
No, sorry, I tell a lie. 420 members.
Really?
Yeah. I think I'm looking at the right thing. No, it says 100. It says 162, and then when you click on it, it says 420. That's bizarre, isn't it? Have we really got 420? I don't know. Let's have a look. See all. Oh, see all. Facebook, pain in the neck. Well, it says members 420. So latest sign-ups. I'm going to say hello to a few people now.
Yeah.
Wendy Holmes, she joined us on Saturday.
Hello, Wendy. Lovely Wendy. I know Wendy. Yeah, she's lovely.
Helen Louise Phillips.
Yeah, Helen.
This is like your harem of Chatham women, isn't it?
It's my fan club.
Yeah. Co Zorlat.
Don't know.
Anna Kay, that's my sister, Anna. Michelle
Hi,
Kemp.
Anna.
Michelle Kemp. Alan Marshall. George Chatton, must be one of yours.
He's my son, yeah. One of my
Benji Chatton.
He's one of my clan.
Matt Crow. Kathy Samuels, Kieran Riley, Dave Mills, Keith Elwood, Charlene Hill. Joined twice. You know what they say about somebody with 2 Facebook accounts, don't you?
Yeah, stalking you.
Keith Hackett, Nathan Rutland, Diane Colby, Catherine Caroley, Tina Hill, Rachel Cropley, Terry Brandon. The list goes on and on and on. So if you want to be one of 420 people or more, you want to join our Facebook group, just look for Too Fat DJs. You'll find us on there.
More importantly, if you are currently a member of that group, please share and get more people to join.
Absolutely.
It can only get better. We've had some really great compliments from people that currently have really good podcasts saying, we love your podcast. So, thanks ever so much for that. It's been great.
And thank you to Tony Wynyard as well, who is the podcast king.
Yes.
He has his own podcast. And he said some really nice things about our podcast, considering we were only 3 episodes in at the time. So thank you, Tony. We appreciate Tony. Your kind words.
And little things like that help us as well, because obviously, we don't know if we're doing it, well or not, or if people are really enjoying it. We get the occasional messages, but for every 10 messages, we might have 20 people that say, "Nah, it sucks. It's horrible. We hate it." But actually, that's not been the case. So that's really encouraging as well. So, and again, as we say every week, if there's anything that you think we can improve on, or you would like us to feature, just get in touch with us, please.
You can email us. The email address is podcast@toofatdjs.co.uk. So just pop us an email. We'll read it. And we will act on it accordingly. And although we are an independent group, we're not affiliated with anyone. We're not affiliated with Slim World or Weight Watchers or Atkins Diet or anything like that. We are we're just two guys just talking shit every week, right? And
guys,
but that's not to say that in the future, we may have a promotion with someone or something. Where members of our group could benefit from that. So
yeah.
But if that's in the future, we have no idea.
Be for you, the listeners,
and the watchers,
because we love you. We've done takeaways, so I think the other thing is as well. Ian was saying that you'd lost 9.5 pounds last week. I've lost 2.5 pounds. The temptation is when you lose weight and you're on a bit of a health kick. The temptation is you go and get weighed, and you may well have heard this expression: "I'm going to have a cheat night. I'm going to have a cheat. I've lost weight. I'm going to have a cheat night. I've done really well this week. I've lost 2.5 pounds. I've lost 9.5 pounds. Yeah, I'm going to have a cheat night. Get it out of the way." Should you or shouldn't you have a cheat night?
Well, I'll be honest. When I got back on Monday, I cooked myself a breakfast.
Yeah.
No, I had. I felt quite good, if I'm honest. So I had 2 slices of bacon with all the fat literally trimmed off. So they was just like the medallions. I had 3 eggs scrambled. I had baked beans, half a tin of baked beans. I had 2 hash browns. Admittedly, they're air fried. That was probably those are the first hash browns I've had in over a month. And very naughty, I had a slice of toast with the thinnest, tiniest smidge of butter on it, and that's the first bread I've eaten in over a month as well.
Right.
So I had a breakfast and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't have normally now. If my other half was here, she would tell you. Normally, when I have a breakfast, my normal breakfast, pre-Slimming World diet, my breakfast would have been 5 rashers of bacon, right, with all the fat on. 3 or maybe 4 hash browns. Half a tin of beans. 3 eggs scrambled, 2 or 3 slices of toast, maybe a couple of sausages as well. But also, my kind of vice is reggae sauce. I take it on holiday. I love it.
I've never had that.
And all I do is I just go all over the top one way, and then all over the top the other way as well.
You make a pattern.
I make a pattern. I write my name in it. And that would have been a normal breakfast for me. But this time I had no reggae sauce on it, although I did season it all a little bit more with salt and pepper. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that was my cheat breakfast.
Can I just
after 9.5 pounds, I thought I'd done all right.
Right. Can I just say something there? It's funny how you regard that breakfast that you had when you lost 9.5 pounds as cheating. What part of cheating would you say was the worst bit of that breakfast?
Probably the toast.
Why?
Because
it's a healthy it's an option that you can have on Slimming World.
Yeah, I know that. It was white bread though, not brown bread. But toast for me is like cocaine, right? For a drug taker, right? So I had 1 slice of toast and I wanted to eat more of that toast.
Yeah.
Right now, my mum is exactly the same. My mum and I could demolish a loaf of bread within 1 sitting and we have done.
Yeah,
we have done. But 1 slice of white bread with a bit of butter on it, and that was what I thought was cheating. Oh, and the hash browns as well.
It's funny how your mindset now changes did you almost, and be honest, did you almost feel guilty for having that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mega guilty.
But when you actually look deeper into what you've eaten there, you haven't really. I mean, I doubt if you'd have had that breakfast, I doubt you'd have had, a normal size lunch. I don't. You might have. I don't know. But if ever I do that, I mean, most mornings I'll have a tin of plum tomatoes. I'll normally take all the juice out so it's not swimming in water on the plate. So I'll normally have a tin of plum tomatoes. I'll have half a tin of baked beans. I'll have 2 poached eggs, and then I will have a good handful of mushrooms, that are dry fried. So literally I'll just spray the pan and I'll season them with a bit of black pepper. So I'll have tomatoes, mushrooms, poached egg, baked beans. And that, I was going to say most mornings. It's not most mornings. It's probably 3 or 4 out of 7 days in the week I would have that. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I really do enjoy it. I sit down every time I eat it. I don't eat it off my lap. I sit down properly. I really concentrate on what I'm doing when I'm eating it. And I look forward to it. I look forward to it the night before. I think to myself, I'm really looking forward to breakfast in the morning. But I think if you took a picture of that and put that on social media, most people would probably look at it and think, really? Is that part of your diet? Well, yeah, it is. It is, which again, we'll talk about, soon with Jason from Slimming World. But, so it's funny how your mind changes, I think, and what you start to feel guilty about what you eat and what you've been looking at and what you think you might want to eat. And, it's funny how your mind plays tricks on you, whereas actually, like you've just alluded to, when you remember what you were having for breakfast, it's just streets apart.
Yeah, when I look on the NutriCheck app, and I'll put the link to that in the show in the episode description at the bottom and on YouTube. When I use the NutriCheck app to add up all of the calories and the fats and all the stuff of what I've eaten, normal breakfast would have been about 1,100 calories. This one was just under 600, which I was quite pleased with.
But again, if you had that, and then you had something very light, a salad at lunchtime, and then an evening meal, again, as we've said before, if you're thinking about having, or if you're aiming to have, say, 2,000 calories a day to lose weight as a middle-aged man of our sort of size, well, even with an evening meal, if you were having a Hello Fresh in the evening, you're still only looking at probably 1,200 or 1,300 calories for a whole day.
Yeah, I'm averaging at the minute about 15, between 15 and 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day.
And you're never feeling that hungry. You're not sort of feeling, oh God, I've got to eat.
No, not at all. And the NutriCheck app says that for my height and weight and build and all that kind of stuff, my age, if I want to maintain my current weight, I'd be eating 3,300 a day. And I would very easily smash 5,000 calories a day. Because whilst I was driving around, if I ever stopped for fuel, and I've said this before, I'd go for the Snickers Duo or the Mars Duo or the Texas or the the Twix Extra. I'd maybe go for a packet of Yum Yums, donuts, crisps, not like the little bags. You go for the grab bags, which are bigger. If I just think about the mountain of crap I used to eat that I don't eat anymore now.
I think, and I think the other thing is as well, when you eat that amount of crap and shit each day or night or whatever, half the time you don't even realize you're eating it.
No,
you really don't. How many times have you honestly eaten a bag of crisps, finished a bag of crisps and thought, oh, I'm full up?
Never.
You don't. You just don't do it. A bag of crisps will never fill you up. What's the bloody point? What
sandwich would.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So would you also say that your shopping habits have changed when you go to the supermarket? How's that differed, would you say?
We avoid the chocolate aisles usually. We don't go down those. But yeah, I mean, my eyes used to like literally scan every part of the shelf, right? So I'd be like, I'd be like a robot, just literally scanning everything, just looking for stuff I wanted to eat. But now I find myself not doing that so much and just focusing on the areas that I know are going to have the foods that I want to buy. So yeah, like I said, we skip the chocolate aisle. I never really went down the booze aisle before because I'm not a big drinker. And yeah, I just kind of don't get turned on by that stuff. I mean, I look at it and maybe think, yeah, I could just eat one of them right now. But I just know that it's not something I want to do because I've done so well so far. I don't want to sabotage that. And you know, maybe if I was like a normal kind of weight, then yeah, you could just grab like a packet of pork pies or whatever, and then you could eat one or two. But I couldn't just eat one or two. I'd eat all six.
Yeah, I know.
And then you know, I like to eat my pork pies with mustard, with like yellow mustard on top. So I just know that I would just have that and the yellow mustard, and then I'd want something else to go with it.
I think you know, you hit on it earlier when you were talking about preparation. You know, a lot of it is down to preparation. And I know we're very quick to say, I haven't got time. I haven't got time. You've got to face facts. You know, this is your health you're talking about. You've got to have time. You've got to find time. If you've got time to do other things, you've got time to do the important things. And a simple thing like going shopping, I mean, me and Doris do it all the time. And that is, we'll say to ourselves, right, we need to go shopping. All right, what do we need? What do we need? Okay, so that's what we need. And there's the list, you know? So I put it on the phone, and as I get to the shop, so I'm pre-planning exactly what I'm going to be eating that week. You know, I think to myself, okay, so we'll have fish on Tuesday night, and then we'll have a chicken dish on there. We'll have this. So okay, so we need to get 3 lots of chicken. We need to get 2 lots of fish. We need to get enough vegetables for 2 days, and then we'll go and get some more on the 3rd day. You know, so then you're going to go in. You're going to go in. You know where you're going to go. You're going to get it. You're going to put it in your trolley. I don't mind admitting, I would walk. You know, I love cheese. I love savouries. I love cheese. I still walk down those aisles because every time I walk down there, I find it easier now to not pick up something, and I almost see that as a bit of a, you know, a sort of turning point. You know, that I can resist those things. I've never really had a sweet tooth, although I would, you know, some biscuits I do, you know, like chocolate oaty biscuits. You know, I mean, I could eat those until the cows come home, basically. I was going to say something else, but so you know, I could just eat those. I love them.
I think making the list is really important, and you know, it reminds me of an image I found on Facebook once of what happens when a man goes shopping. Right, so you've got like the man at the bottom, and then it's just literally straight lines to all the shops that he needs to go to. Yeah. And then it says when a woman goes shopping, it's literally just scribble. Yeah. You just scribble all over, and this is what it's like, especially if you're going shopping without a list, knowing what you need to buy. So I always try to compound that fact when I go shopping with my other half. I just say, right, come on, let's do the list, and I write the list out. This is how OCD I am. I write the list out in the order of where it is in the shop. Yeah. And she's like, how do you know where everything is in the shop? And it's just like, well, because I know that when I go there, if I want bottled water, I go there. If I want Diet Coke, I go there. If I want the beef mince, I go there. And that way, I'm kind of focusing on where I need to go and what shelf I need to be looking at. And that way, I kind of like, it's like wearing blinkers. So all of the other stuff kind of like disappears.
I think, I totally get that. I know it sounds very odd, but I totally get that. I think the other thing is as well, when you go in and you don't know what you're going to be eating for the rest of the week, then what happens is you tend to get halfway around the store, and then you panic because you actually haven't thought of what you're going to have, and then you will end up picking up crap just for convenience sake.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So you'll pick up those chicken burgers, you'll pick up those burgers, you'll pick up any old crap that you don't want to be eating. But like I say, I mean, it just comes down to preparation, I think, and you know, a little bit of forward thinking. That's all you need.
And this is why also I do the Hello Fresh, because we've started it up again this week, so we'll get a delivery on Sunday for next week. because you literally choose your food in advance. And I've been eating things that I would never ever normally eat, and it all arrives, and it's all the meals are separated into separate bags. So you go, yeah, I'm going to have that today. Right, recipe number 26. You reach into the fridge, pull out bag 26, and it's got everything in it that you need. It's got the right amount of potatoes, the right amount of garlic, the right amount of this, the right amount of that, the right amount of meat. My only criticism is that the meat is high fat content. So the beef mince, the lamb mince and the pork mince are always the 20-30% ones. But if you can kind of throw that away and get the lower fat alternatives, then that's great, although it does increase the cost. But this is why I like the HelloFresh, because then I don't have to, when I go shopping, I'm only buying things like toilet rolls and bleach and bin bags and all the kind of mundane, boring stuff like milk and all that. I'm not being tempted by going down the pork pie aisle or the pasty aisle.
The other great thing with HelloFresh is less wastage. How many times have you bought? I mean, I like pak choy. I buy pak choy, and after a couple of days, it's wilted and it's horrible. I end up chucking it away if I haven't made it. So I think with HelloFresh, it's designed to last a week as well, isn't it? So it's pretty much it's going to last you in the fridge or the freezer or wherever you've got to put it. And you've got no wastage. If you want to add your more vegetables to it, add your more vegetables to it. Ladies and gents, I present to you Mr. Jason Perrio from Slimming World.
Woohoo! Hello.
So, Ian, what would you like to ask Jason?
Well, I just want to say hello, Jason. I've heard so much about you.
Awesome. All good things, I hope.
Always good things.
Good. We like that.
And I just want to say it's very rare that you do see a male Slimming World consultant, because there's quite a lot of female ones around. Mine is male as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird because all the Slimming World consultants I've had before have always been female. So you're in a minority, I think, without a doubt. So tell us all about Slimming World, how you kind of got in, how it can help people, and just tell us more.
Yeah, okay. So all of Slimming World's consultants are part of the member base. So I started my journey as a member. And that's how we find all our consultants. And they all become consultants through being a member and being inspired whilst we're in group. And I think what I really loved about Slimming World was there was this initial buzz that someone that I used to work with said, "Oh, come along." They'd send me trying cabbage soup, raw beetroot, which I didn't know you had to wash pre-eating it, and it was just disgusting. And I tried all sorts of things to lose weight, and when I was told that I could still have a little bit of everything I love, I thought, right, that sounds like a good idea. My ears pricked up and I went along. I'm not going to lie to you, I sat in my car for 4 weeks before I actually had the courage to just get out the door and just walk in. It was a fear of dread and almost admitting to myself that I needed help and I needed something a little bit more. And the plan in itself, our eating plan, is unique because there's only 3 steps to it, which is free food, which is unlimited. The reason why free food is unlimited is simply because it's really low energy density and it's really low in calories per gram. So it works out. You can have much, much more of it for less calories and fill yourself up on that. We've then got our weighed and measured healthy extras, which is calcium and fiber rich products. Calcium is really great for our bones, as we all know, and fiber, of course, keeps us nice and healthy whilst we're losing weight. And then
give us a couple of examples of calcium and fiber, just for those that aren't sort of au fait with that.
Yeah, so for instance, your cheese, we can have 30 grams of reduced fat cheddar as one healthy extra aid choice. We get 2 a day. So each day, if you wanted to, you could have 60 grams of cheddar. Or you might say, do you know what, I'm going to have 30 grams of cheddar and 250 mils of semi-skimmed milk to get that calcium intake there. Fiber, found in loads of different things. It can be cooked, canned or dried fruits. It can be cereal bars, Ryvitas, bread, of course, wholemeal bread. Is a fantastic source of fiber, and lots of different healthy extras options are available. So there's loads. I mean, there's like 6 pages of healthy extra B choice.
Yeah. So essentially you're not really missing out on many things that you would probably want and like.
A few moments later.
So give us a few examples of calcium and fiber, Jason, for those that aren't familiar with what they actually are.
Yeah, of course. So all of our healthy extras are weighed and measured to protect our weight losses as we go. Your calcium, you're going to find things like cheese and milk. Some dairy-free options are in there as well to make sure we cater for everybody. And what you're going to find is you can have 2 healthy extra A choices a day. So that's going to be milk and cheese if you want it. You can have 1 lot of each. And what you'll find is with milk, you can have, for instance, 250 mils of semi-skimmed milk, and then you might use your other choice on cheese. So you could have 30 grams of full fat cheddar, and that's going to give you enough calcium that's recommended by the government as healthy guidelines to keep us on track.
And that's important as well. I know that I think I've done enough sort of different diets and plans to sometimes think, well, actually you can skip that but I think it's also important to mention that it's, you know, these things are in the plan to actually to benefit you as well,
Yeah.
and to help.
Yeah, totally. And it goes, it's same with our B choices. They're packed full of fiber. And there's a reason why certain types of bread can't be a healthy extra, because of the amount of fiber that's not in them. So all the healthy extras have been tailor picked because they have got enough fiber to keep us nice and healthy. So things like 60 grams of wholemeal bread or a wholemeal roll that weighs 60 grams has got the recommended daily amount of fiber in there to keep us nice and healthy whilst we're losing weight.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is not a plan that's just been written out on the back of a fag packet, is it? Is what we're trying to say, Jason. There's actually science behind this.
Yeah, and of course, like the end part is our sins, which is a little bit of what you love. These are those more high-calorie foods that at Slimming World, you won't hear us talk about calories very much because the science behind our plan takes away that need to calorie count. So what you do find is that the sins for gents like myself and you guys, you would get 25 sins a day on average. And that can be mayo, ketchup, your gin and tonic, your glass of wine, but it's carefully weighed and measured with a sin value so that you are keeping within a certain amount of calories, I guess, a day. But with free food filling you up, you don't need to worry about any of those calorie counts. So it just literally makes it really simplified and goes over the top of your head to keep it nice and simple.
And would you say that it's essential that you use those sins every day, or is there any harm in not using those sins?
No, absolutely not. I mean, one of the most common things we get told or asked at group is, oh, I haven't used all my sins, and will that stop me losing weight? The ultimate answer is no, because as long as you're, if you're not putting extra sins in your mouth, you're not having extra calories, so it's all going to ultimately benefit your weight loss.
Yeah. Well,
and as my consultant says, it's not a target; it's a limit. You know, so you're not aiming to, because if you were going to try and have 25 sins a day, I mean, my book says because of my weight, I can have up to 35. Is my kind of limit. If I actually thought about how am I going to do 35 sins, right, in just like bags of crisp and this and that, I mean that is quite a mountain of food to eat. But I would never normally want to eat that because it would just be too many.
Yeah, you'd almost be thinking that you're eating just for the sake of eating, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Can you save up your sins and blow them all at the end of the week?
No, we wouldn't recommend it. And we wouldn't recommend it because then it's kind of the reason why you get a certain amount of sins a day is so that you can have a little bit of what you love and blend it in, and more focus on behavior change as well. And because I know pre-Slimming World, I used to binge quite regularly. And actually, if I saved up all my sins, and for instance, if you're a normal standard sin allowance is 105 a week, if you then blew that 105 sins, actually that's probably promoting quite unhealthy behavior. Whereas actually everything in moderation, which is one of our kind of key points in our new members pack, is key. Everything in moderation. You don't feel like you're on a diet. You don't feel like you're starving. So you can have a little bit of what you love, and actually it balances itself out brilliantly.
Okay, so just moving on to the meetings then. So for because there's going to be a lot of guys watching and listening to this podcast because most DJs are guys, and you know, talking about weight and stuff can be a little bit of a taboo subject, something that we don't like to talk about that often. But say they went to their local social club where there's a Slimming World meeting going on. You know, we've all seen those images of on Little Britain with, is it Marjorie Dawes walking around going dust and all this kind of thing. What will people watching this and listening to this podcast see when they get to a meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect when I walked in my first group, and I went to a group in Thurston, just outside Bury St Edmunds. Had no idea what I was walking into, other than the fact that when I walked through the door, there was this lovely, warm, friendly face ready to welcome me into group. That obviously now I know understands how I felt walking through those doors, because she'd been on a weight loss journey herself. And for, like I say, I sat in my car for a few weeks, and you took the words right out of my mouth, really. I expected it to be like Little Britain. I really did. And I think for my members, certainly walking in my groups, I know that when they walk in, they're going to get, hiya, you're right, how are you? Nice to meet you. I recognised Nick under his face mask, and when he filled out his enrolment form when he joined, I was like, you're my wedding DJ. But at that point, it was like just welcoming people into group. I think it's probably made me appreciate it a little bit more after the pandemic, that when you walk into a group, you need a friendly face to be offered a cuppa, no judgment, no humiliation. We see so many different people from different walks of life that actually you never know what you're going to expect. And I think that's what I really love about being a consultant, because we're all the same. We're all walking through those doors for the reason. We're going to give you an eating plan, which in my opinion is the best eating plan out there, because it is flexible and generous. And from the group experience in itself, every single person sat in that room is trying to achieve the same goal. And I think, yeah, it is a little bit daunting for a guy to walk in, because you're thinking to yourself, it's just going to be a bunch of women sat around waiting for a group. But actually, we do have men in our groups. And I tell you what, that on a regular basis, they absolutely smash it, really do.
Do you think that's because men are probably more competitive? I mean, I know me and Ian, we're sharing our journey, and
I think we're maybe more focused, whereas women are can be quite emotional, and I think they I don't know, maybe as a guy, I know what my target is and what I have to do in order to be able to get that. And it's something that Nick and I were talking earlier on about when we go shopping. Men have the ability to just go there and there and there and there to just do the shopping. Whereas when women go shopping, they literally want to go up and down every single aisle, right? Whereas as a guy, I feel more focused. So I know that if I want to lose weight, I've got to do that, and that. And I can be less emotionally connected to what's kind of happening around me. Whereas women, I think, struggle with that because they're women, and that's maybe they're affected by that a bit more.
Yeah, I also have a lot of sympathy for women, and the way that women's bodies work, and without getting too sort of, into the
gory.
But, I really do. I sympathize. I understand that a lot of women have to have chocolate for the chemical balances and things like that. No, they do. They don't.
Is that what Teresa told you?
Yeah. So I have a lot of sympathy, and for most women, they've got kids, they've got jobs, they've got a house to run, whereas guys tend to be probably more less things.
Thing is, men have those worries and problems as well. We're all the same. We all have that kind of stuff going on. But I think because of the way we are maybe engineered biologically, and I think this is where you were coming from, Nick. We're wired differently.
Yeah,
and
I think more methodical. We're a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's not to say we're any better than women and women are not better than men, because we're not saying that. What we're saying is that we're wired differently, and we're it's just the way it is. And I mean, I think maybe this is why. Go on.
I was going to say, are you seeing more men in your? How many groups do you do, Jason?
Well, I've got 4 groups a week, so yeah, I think we are seeing more men. I think one of the things that's been really, obviously, I hate to talk about the dreaded COVID, but since COVID reared its head, you've got a lot more people out there, especially men, that have maybe never had a problem with their weight, that did quite manual jobs, stopped, like all of us, our jobs changed slightly or a lot throughout that time. I know for myself, I've managed to maintain my weight with Slimming Well very much until lockdown happened. And then I was sat like this on Zoom 5 days a week, and you know, it changed massively. And I think the men that are coming to group, I think men often have a really clear goal. I think, Ian, you just said you know where your target is, and I think men come into group maybe with a little bit of a different aspect because they want to get there quicker. They want to get there as soon as you can, and they literally go for it full throttle. And men do tend to sometimes be a little bit heavier with their weight, and obviously, you know, we need more calories to burn off that, so we can burn off our weight when we're food optimizing a lot easier with the free food, quicker as well. So let's be honest, we all love a good old weight loss on the scales. You see 4 pounds and you want another 4, and it does give you that fire to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I often say, you know, you lose 4 pounds 1 week. Actually, you've only got to do that 3 weeks, and you've virtually lost a stone.
Yeah.
You know, 3 weeks of doing that, which is 3 weeks out of your life, is nothing. Just as we were talking about that, the one thing that cropped into my head, which is, you know, I'm listening to you and then I'm thinking, oh, I know what I'm going to ask, and that was one of the things I heard at a conference that someone said you must never do because it means you're not listening to the actual person speaking. I was listening to you, but the one thing that popped into my head was on our last episode, Ian stepped on the scales for a couple of days, kept weighing himself, and was seeing that he was putting it on. And then this week, he's just lost 9.5 pounds. Okay. So
amazing.
Just explain why you shouldn't, or why you think you should or you shouldn't weigh yourself every day.
It's a total mix. There's a loads of things. And I'll be honest with you, I can appreciate why you do it. I can appreciate why anyone does it. The last 2 years, that's all we've had to go off. I think for me, the biggest thing is that we eat. We fluctuate in water retention. Most of us, if we stand at home on the scales ourselves, have got nothing on. We're exposing ourselves to the world, and we do it that way. And also, because during the day you will fluctuate, you will have times when your body retains more water, when you're exercising more to keep it healing. But also, it can become quite unhealthy. It can become a little bit dangerous when you're standing on the scales. And I've seen it from my own weight loss journey, but I see it on a regular basis. And I have to say to people, you're paying for our service to come and weigh in a group and get that support. Stick to the calibrated scales once a week, because simply you can drive yourself potty. And you may have heard me say this in group, Nick. If you stand on the scales at home, it never has a positive response, because if you stand on it and see a weight loss, you go, happy days, I'm going to have a few more extra sins. If you see a gain, you go, well, what the blooming hell is going on? I'm doing everything by the book. Why am I gaining weight? And I personally, for me, that's why I find it a little bit, standing on the scales at home, it gives you an indication, but actually you're paying to stand on them scales once a week. And
we said exactly the same last week, but interestingly enough, Ian did some research and went online, and there are a few global organizations that deal with health, nutrition, weight loss that actually say it's a good thing to weigh yourself every day. We were totally the opposite. We said no, that cannot. And for the very reasons you've just said as well, you're never going to get that. Scales are a weighing machine. They're never going to be calibrated correctly. If they're at the side of your wardrobe and you're moving them and you're putting them here every day, that logic says they're going to knock out a calibration. They're never going to be right. So, you know, we said exactly the same, but it's just interesting the minefield of advice that's out there in the marketplace. People saying, yeah, you should weigh yourself every day. I mean, I just find it unbelievable.
A lot. I always find it comes with behaviour change. Do you know what I mean? And obsessive behaviour, which when we think about ourselves as slimmers, a lot of us do have quite obsessive behaviour. And behaviour traits that obviously reflect in the way we eat and the way that we behave. So I think it's making those changes, not only with your food, but with your mindset as well, to have that consistency. And the one good thing is our scales at Slimming Well, they are calibrated by our head office team. We have guidelines on how we store them. So we know that they're always flat, or if they're not, they're over our shoulder. So, and the good thing is when we cover groups, we don't have people going, your scale is completely different, which makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that's good. Well, let's clear that up. Right, Ian, what do we want to ask Jason next while we've got him?
Well, we just want to. I was thinking about some of the more popular. I hope that's not fat Coke you're drinking there, Jason.
Leave him alone, Ian.
I promise it is zero. It just looks like.
Right, okay. I'll let you off. It was more. I just wanted to move on to some of the myths, right?
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of myths floating around about, and we've already touched on one about free food. You can eat as much of that as you can.
Yeah.
Is that true? Has he gone
So
again?
we recommend. No, you're there. I can
No,
hear
no,
you.
we got you. We got you.
So with free food, we recommend eat until you're satisfied, until you're full. And we always say, where possible, where it makes sense, fill up on free food and speed free foods, especially, to feel lovely and full. I think the key thing is, isn't it? And this is a big thing for all of us as slimmers. We can all fall into that trap. If I say to you, I can have unlimited pasta, I see that as a challenge.
Yeah.
The reality of it is if I mix my third of a plate of speed free foods with that pasta, it's going to be more bulky, it's going to be more filling. I think the biggest thing for me is if I think about a portion of French fries and I think about having a couple of aubergines and a courgette cut up mixed into pasta, I know the aubergine and courgette is going to bulk that pasta out so much more. And that's exactly why we say eat as much as you can until your appetite is full. Eat to satisfy your appetite is where we'd really go with that. It is unlimited, it's free food, and for some of us, especially at the heavier end of the scales, we will need more food to keep us functioning. And of course, it's just being mindful. The mindfulness is something that's huge that we're trying to kind of bring alive in group now as well.
So don't see it as a challenge, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly the same with your sins. You know, when we think 5 to 25 sins is what the average chap gets, 25, I certainly know for myself, I saw that as a challenge when I first started. Whereas now I sort of stick to 15 sins because actually that's a manageable amount for me. I'll see the consistent weight losses. But yeah, it is almost and that's a mindset thing. If I say to some members, I say, yeah, you can have as much pasta as you like. It is like gun ho. I'm going to try that and see how I get on.
Yeah. How much pasta could I actually get on a plate?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just so on that same sort of theme, just talk about the thirds and the 2/3 and, you know, basically dividing your plate into threes. Can you just sort of clarify that as well?
Yeah, so I literally do a third of my plate with speed free foods. The reason why these foods are so important on your weight loss is because they're lowest in energy and lowest calories per gram. So again, like I was saying, if you get a watermelon, you can have 250 grams of watermelon. It's going to be the same calories as one Freddo bar. And that Freddo bar has gone in a mouthful, isn't it? It's gone really, really quickly. And that's it. Whereas that watermelon, it's going to take time to eat. Whilst you're eating it, you're going to send those signals to your brain that says you're eating that product, you're eating that food. There's this word mastiation, which we have to be a bit careful with when we say that in group. But that ultimately is sending signals to your brain, and your brain is receiving that and saying you're eating. So you're going to naturally, psychologically feel fuller from having bulkier, bigger foods, which is what those speed-free foods are. So we recommend you get a third of your plate, at least. I do that every time. Like you get a third of your plate full of that, because those are the foods that are going to boost your weight loss. They're super low in calories. They're free and unlimited, so you can eat as much as you like of that, as long as you've got your third of the plate. And then after that, fill it up with your meat and your protein-rich foods. Fill it up with your free foods like potatoes, and you know that you've got that plate ready full of all that gorgeous food that's going to fill you up.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you're saying is mastiation is good for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just checking.
I've just had to write down the word mastiation.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I might have made a mistake. I'm not saying what I might have said. I'm just saying I had to write it down to be sure that that was the correct pronunciation of mastiation.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I had a friend who worked in a bakery once, and we always used to have great fun calling him a master baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar word, but completely different meaning. Just going back to some of the myths again. So someone said to me once that Slimming World and Weight Watchers and all these other kind of group kind of led things, they promote fat shaming by when you're all sat there in a circle and they go, oh, Linda, you put 5 pounds on this week. What's the actual truth about when you're all sat there in a circle?
Yeah, so it's not like that at all. I can't speak for any other weight or loss organisation. I'll be honest, I've never been to another organisation, so I can't tell you what they're like. But I know in my group, certainly, and the way that Slimming World train us is it's all done with a positive thought process. And actually, I won't ever sit there and say to you, you put on £3. I will say you face those this evening, but I'll never actually mention a number. So you will never, no one in the group will ever know what you've put on. And for me, like, that's amazing as a member, knowing that I'm going to sit there. I know that I might have put on weight, but I don't need to hear it read out to me. So for me, that's quite important as a consultant to follow through with. I know how I would feel if that was the boot on the other foot, so to speak. But yeah, we won't talk about that. We do talk about losses, and we mention numbers sometimes, and a lot of the time we mention how much we've lost. But when it's a gain, we're trained to actually not mention a number now.
That was one of the things I noticed. I picked up from you straight away. You use the word maintain or protect.
Yeah.
So
and it is
maintaining a weight loss, or you're protecting a weight, which in reality is correct. That's what you are doing. Because if you're still at that group, if you've given up and you're no longer there, that's different. But if you're actually there and you are still, you're still attending groups and things like that, and you're there because you want to do it, you're maintaining something, or you're protecting a weight loss, and I think that's very clever wording. And one of the things I picked up straight away, I think I said to you, Ian, didn't I? I said, we don't say it's like, or you've gained, it's protecting or maintained, or, so
and I think it's just a bit of a kinder, more gentle way of saying it. And I think I've been in groups as a member, and someone's gone, oh, you put on 4 pounds. And I literally, you go like that, you shrink up, you feel ashamed, and all of those feelings that come associated with a weight gain, which, let's be honest, at some point on our weight loss journeys, we're all going to maybe see a maintain or a gain. But actually, it's not about how that word said, it's about what we do afterwards that counts. And if you're already in a good place and you're thinking, do you know what, I am protecting 4 stone, happy days, you kind of always set on a really positive mindset to move forward.
No, totally agree. Right, Ian, is there anything else you want to ask Jason? Because I actually want to know what Jason's story is before we say goodbye to Jason.
I was just looking through my list as you were saying, and I can't think of anything else. So Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of maybe certainly around the point where you realized that you needed to do something about it. What was the trigger that kind of that made you then go to the Slimming World group and start losing weight?
And also, what about, like childhood? Did your issues with weight, did they start as a child? Was it the way you were being fed? Your parents? What? I mean, without being too intrusive, it'd be interesting, because I think, we've all got different stories.
Yeah, of course. I think as a child, my family were very food orientated, like most of us were. I still say to this day, some of the issues that I have with my own weight loss journey, and my trigger foods especially, come from my childhood. And for most of us, that will be the case. Walker's cheese and onion crisps, Wotsits and Quavers, my nan had in abundance in her cupboard. And there was 3 of us growing up, 3 boys, my mum and dad, 3 of us. And money was tight when we were growing up. My dad was worked at an electrical factory before he went to work for the prison service, and money was always a bit tight. And mum would always be really tight and buy like 12 bags of crisps, bearing in mind every day if we all took a bag that didn't last very long, and dad took a bag to work, and I would often hoard food and take those crisps up to my bedroom. And crisps is one of the earliest things I think that that's a bit of a trigger food for me even now. But in my childhood, I never had a struggle with my weight. And it wasn't until I was 19 and I worked for the NHS at the West Suffolk Hospital in Bury, and working night shifts, I just ate and ate and ate. And my metabolism obviously was up the chute when I'm working nights. And it doesn't have to be, but that was my way of coping with it. Pizza would get brought up to the ward, and patients would leave boxes of chocolates and things like that. And it was just there. So you just graze. I hit my sort of early 20s, and the weight had started to really creep on quite quickly. Obviously at that point, I wasn't doing any body magic or any form of exercise. So I wasn't doing that other than working. And it wasn't until I had an accident on my bike, and I used to ride a motorbike, and had an accident on my bike, ended up in A&E with a dislocated shoulder, and ended up having to have 3 months off work. And that is when I saw most of my 6.5 stone that I lost go on. And it was really quick. I didn't even notice it. And it wasn't until one of my friends, I left the NHS, and worked for a company in Bury, which was a healthcare provider, and literally watched this young girl that I worked with, and she was noshing down on all this food, and I was like, my God, she's eaten so much and she's lost all this weight. And she was like, yeah, it was Slimming World. And that just planted that seed. And there I was eating me, and it was literally raw beetroot that I was eating at the time. And I thought, oh, I'll go along and see what it's like. And again, for 4 weeks, I couldn't walk through there. I was unhealthy. I couldn't, I think the biggest thing for me that made me want to do it was when I was thinking about my patients and their health and their well-being. I'm promoting something and I'm telling them they're overweight and they needed to lose weight in order to have a hip replacement or to have an extension of care. I wasn't doing the same thing myself. And I think that I felt quite ashamed and quite guilty at that point. So yeah, I walked through my first door. I think I lost 9 pounds in my first week. And I had burgers and chips, and I made a Slimming World pizza. And I remember thinking, how can I eat this and lose weight? And probably like many people out there stood on that scale for the first week and went, this ain't going to happen. I ain't going to lose weight. I've eaten tons of food. And yeah, 6.5 stone later. And yeah, it was 2 years. I think it was 1.5 years into my weight loss journey. I went to an opportunity event that Slimming World run regularly. My consultant said, you know what, you would make a really good consultant. And I thought, no, I can't do that kind of job. I care about people in my day job, but, I'm not that kind of person. Being a nurse, I'm quite cynical minded, as they say, a little bit, on the edgy side. And I thought, give it a go. Went along to an event at Ipswich and just went from there. And now I've moved to Lowestoft. I've got 4 amazing groups full of members that are losing weight, and it honestly is the best role in the world, and I wouldn't change it.
I have to say, for those of you that don't know Jason, I mean, Jason is a really active member of Slimming World, in so much that if you're weighing in on a Tuesday, you will get a voice message or a text or something on a Tuesday to say, hey guys, really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hope you're okay. So that constant support is so vital. If you're having a shitty week and you get a call from Jason or a text message, it's almost as if, don't forget, I'm still here. And it's so nice. And I know from speaking to people in the group, they absolutely adore Jason. They really do. And I'm not just saying that because he's on here, but they do. I've not heard a bad word about Jason. He is an absolute credit to Slimming World. And yeah, personally, I mean, he's helped me a lot as well, without him probably realizing he has. But yeah, a true inspiration. So I think
it's nice to just. It's certainly nice to just have that like extra bit of support, even when you're not actually at the meeting as well. When I think it was my second week, I'd done some stuff in my local Slimming World group on Facebook, and I was I'm quite positive in there. I'm always trying to big people up and help them and do my bit and all that kind of stuff. And I just got like a random card in the post from my consultant, Aaron. He just said, you're doing great. Thank you so much. And it's just like, oh, it's really nice to get stuff like that. So I was going to ask, when you're not actually thinking about your groups and, dealing with like kind of like the admin stuff, what else does Aaron do Slimming World related? Jason, I'm getting confused.
This is the thing, right? Obviously we stand in group for a few hours and that's all people see, but like obviously the support side, I make, and Aaron I'm sure does this as well. Was Aaron a national competition winner by any chance?
Possibly. He lost 17 stone, I think.
Yeah, I think I know who he is. I follow him on Instagram. Snaresy.
Right. There you go.
I think one of the biggest things for me is, and a lot of consultants, we make promises that we'll support our members and see them through. And I genuinely mean it, that when any member walks through my door, I care. They've taken that step of being brave and walking through my door. And I know it's not an easy step to make. So by walking through my door shows me that you've got a commitment. And sometimes you might need reminding of that. Sometimes you might need a little boost if you haven't seen the weight loss that you want. And I think it's really important for me that every single one of my members hears from me at least once every week. If you're flying high and you've got an award, I like to leave a little voice note that's quite personal. If you've not seen the weight loss that you want, I want to check in and make sure you're all right and give you the opportunity to talk to me if you need it. So yeah, a lot of behind the scenes work is that. We obviously have a Facebook group, which most groups have one. And I think that's really key as well, because the Facebook groups just help us to keep social and keep active and post pictures of food and things like that. So again, adds that motivation. And you've got your Slimming World app, you've got your website, all packed full of motivational tools to help you on top of me. And I think the biggest thing for my members, and I'm sure Aaron's the same in your group, is that we know what it feels like. We do get it. If you've been through a weight loss journey, you will get that sometimes you just lose motivation. Sometimes you just need a kick up the backside, and you might just need someone to tell you, well done, it's been a good week.
What's your favourite Slimming World recipe?
Oh God, now you're asking. There's so many. For me, I love nacho style feast, like with your potato wedges all like cut up and put around a dish with like your mince in the middle, and with a bit of like chili flavour, some paprika in there, and then squirt a load of Primula Light over the top of it as my healthy extra A, and put it in the oven and let it go really gooey, like dirty pub kind of grub is my kind of thing.
I've not tried that one, Ian. I've got to try that one.
No, we're on Shanghai chicken tonight. There's a couple of books that Slimming World do called Take 5, and they're perfect. I find them perfect because although I like cooking, I can't be bothered sometimes. And the reason why I like the Take 5 books, because it's 5 ingredients plus like maybe a bit of water or whatever, but you know, it's 5 ingredients. Nothing generally takes more than half an hour to cook. And Shanghai chicken is one of the easiest recipes I've ever cooked, but tastes so bloody good. And you still sit there eating it thinking, how can I eat this and still lose weight or it be such low calorie? And I've been introduced to foods I would have never ate. I had, we're doing Hello Fresh at the minute. So we're concentrating on meals that are like under 650 calories. They do a range. And we had kidney beans, like refried kidney beans the other day, something that I would never, ever normally eat. But I really enjoyed them with lime and a bit of salt in there. They were beautiful. But the Shanghai chicken introduced me to pak choi, something I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know where to find it in Tesco's when I first went there. And now it kind of makes up a lot of the food that we eat these days.
Yeah,
there's a nice little kind of vegetable to just chuck in.
Yeah. I think one of the best things with Slimming World is it does get you in the kitchen. It gets you thinking about fresh, wholesome food. And where you see some other weight loss organizations with shakes and pre-mixed foods, you know, we're teaching. I mean, one of the things I think I first learned, I never knew how to make a bolognese sauce. Do you know what I mean? It's a really standard kind of thing, but never knew how to do that. And yeah, just that. It introduces you to new foods. Like I remember the first time I tried looking for capers from a recipe, stood in Asda for about 45 minutes. And where the blooming hell do I find capers? Are they fish? Are they beans? What are they? But yeah,
the other thing is as well that when you take an interest in what you're eating and what you're cooking, you enjoy it more because you know the love that's gone into it to make it in the first place. And more importantly, you know the exact ingredients that you're putting in.
Yeah.
You know, so you do tend to enjoy your food, and it will invariably taste so much better as well.
Yeah.
So Slimming World have got a new book out called Fast and Free. Now I got this free when I joined, because I joined at the end of February, and I got this free. Normally I think it's $4.95. And this, have you ever had that?
The cow chow stuff. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat all of it. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Tried that one.
And I love the fact that, again, it's that thinking, isn't it? Again, with our behaviour change.
Nick.
You can make that meal in 25 minutes, I think it is, for the cow chow steak.
15 it says.
And this is where I say to some of my members, and Nick's probably heard me say this, the time it would take you to pick up the phone to your local Chinese, get your order in, get it delivered and to your door, it's going to be half an hour at least.
Yeah. And
you can have tasty, nutritious food that's going to help you lose weight, that's full of any additives and rubbish there on your plate.
Yeah. And like I say, most of the time you'll eat it, and because you've made it and you've made the effort, very unusually on the odd occasion you might think, it wasn't as nice, but most of the time you're going to say it was lovely because you've made it and you know what's gone into it. So yeah.
When you said bolognese, this is the other one that we really like, the red pepper bolognese.
Yeah,
I've not tried that.
20 minutes, divine. If you've not tried any of them, Nick, get that book out. It's really good.
I should buy it next week, Jason. All right.
Yeah, I'll keep you one.
Definitely buy that book. Right, so Jason, anyone that's listening that's now thinking, perhaps I should join Slimming World.
Yeah.
How easy is it to join?
Literally go on our website, which is slimmingworld.co.uk, type in your postcode, click search, and it will find your local group. We have day groups, evening groups, and morning groups, Saturday groups. So there is pretty much a group running in most areas, most days of the week. So you can go along. The evening times tend to be 5 or 5:30 and 7 and 7:30. And the morning ones tend to be 9:30 and 11. Or a little bit earlier than that, sort of in half an hour blocks. You're only going to be in there on average an hour a week. It's an hour and 15 minutes. So it's a time for you to make time for yourself. Head to the website. The consultant's number will be on there. Pop them a message, and then get in touch with them.
Fantastic. Jason, I know you're busy on a Wednesday because we had to fit this in between your classes. I think you got 4 today, have you?
Yeah, another 2 this evening.
So we really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and hopefully that will sort of, that will put a few minds at rest as well. And even if a few people decide to join, then that's going to be great for them and for Slimming World as well. So I'd just like to say a personal thank you for everything you do for my group, and thanks for coming on the podcast as well. Really do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's been great to meet you both and chat.
And I'd like to say thank you for making Nick look so hot as well.
You wait.
He's got a new jacket waiting for him on the 20th of August.
I have indeed. I've got a new crushed red velvet tuxedo that's winging its way all the way to Jason's wedding.
You're a fashion victim.
Yeah, I know that. Any excuse to buy more clothes is good enough for me. Right, okay. Jason, we'll bid you good day, and I will see you very soon. And once again, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
Wave to Jason, Ian. Come on. Wave. Bye. See you later.
So thank you very much to Jason for popping along. I hope you found that really informative. And like Jason said, just head to the Slimming World website, which is slimmingworld.co.uk. Put in your postcode. You can find your local group on there, and hopefully you're going to start losing some weight like we are.
I'd like to think that we answered a few myths there as well and a few questions. So if it encourages people to go and join and do something, even better. Great.
Absolutely. So week ahead, Nick, what are your goals?
Realistically, again, I mean, if I lost £3 this coming week, £3 is going to take me over well over 3.5 stone. So I'd be happy. I would be happy to lose 3 stone. However, my exercise is now stepping up because as I'm losing weight, I'm finding it easier to exercise. So I'm walking more. So I'm going to go for... No, I'm going to go for £4 this week. That's my goal. £4 weight loss.
So you're locking that in £4 for next week.
Yes. What about you?
Well, I'm torn, Nick, to be honest, because see, I'm 1.5 pounds away from my 2 stone award.
Yeah.
But I'm 4.5 pounds away from my next stone number.
I think I know what I'd be going for.
So I'm aiming for the next stone number because that gets me a lot of steps closer to my 10%.
That's your goal, isn't it?
So I'm going to I'm aiming for 5.
I was going to say, for those that can't see, I'm holding up 5 fingers here. Yeah, I think that's good.
I'm aiming for £5. Yeah.
Yeah. But the good thing is, if you don't achieve £5 and you only achieve 1.5 or 2, you're still hitting a bit of a landmark as well, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not a terrible position to be in.
Definitely.
I mean, as much as I would love to lose 9.5 pounds each week, I think it's a lot, which is why I was surprised.
Yeah.
So we'll aim for 5. So we'll lock that in. £5 for me, 4 for Nick, and we will find out in a week's time just how well we did.
Definitely. And we're going to put some pictures up on the Facebook group as well. So we might not put any, too sort of filthy
racy.
There, but yeah, racy. We don't want to get people excited, obviously. But certainly, I think we should be putting the pictures up when we were at the Pro Mobile conference in 2019, when we were probably both at our heaviest. And probably think that we looked cool at the time, where looking back, we realised we didn't look cool at all, as you do when you look at old photos. So we'll put some pictures up. I think we'll also publicly put up our goals for this week so that they are on public display and we are accountable. And let's just hope we both have a good, well, I say let's hope. Let's just have a good week, the pair of us.
Let's just have a good week. Absolutely.
Yeah. Please, anyone else, if you've got any questions, you've got email, you've got all of the various social media platforms now that you can contact us on. You can contact, wherever. Just contact us, get involved. Anything you want to ask. If you think of another guest that you would like us to interview, let us know and we'll reach out and we'll see. We've as we said last week, we've got a few ideas of people that we'd want to invite on as well. So we're aiming to do that as well. But yeah, anything you want to ask, just get involved, please. And thank you all so much for listening and all your lovely, kind words about the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Mean a lot. Right, okay, then I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my day. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably go for a walk, actually, in a minute. And
I'm off to work.
And you're off to work. So thank you so much, Ian. Well done to you for
last
week. Fantastic. You're smashing it. Love to you all.
You're smashing it. Loving your work.
See you later, everyone.
See you later. Bye.